Yeah.
Well, this is the origins of Lights Out.
Yeah. So like this was like before social media and YouTube
Right.
and everything like that. So my sophomore year, I ended up knocking 4 kids out in one game, and like it wasn't, it was intentional. I'm lying because I,
yeah.
you know, what I mean? Like, but
Come on, man. All right.
okay, but back then, it was different, right? The rules were much different where you actually got applauded for that. Like this is the way I played the game. And so right after the game, about 20, 25 students come right up to me and saying, "Oh, you knocked those kids' lights out."
Right.
So I just looked at everybody like, yeah, call me Lights Out. And I didn't know that it was going to turn into something. Right, and so the next Monday when we went to school in high school, and everybody's calling me Lights for short for Lights Out.
Right.
I went home and that day, and I begged my mom to. I ran home. She's in her room smoking cigarettes and shit. I'm moving the smoke around trying to see her. I said, "Hey, Mom, I want to get this Lights Out tattoo on my right forearm with his hands putting the light switch out." She said, looked at me. She said, "Boy, get the hell out the room." Is what she said. And I left the room. I'm like, my head tucked. I'm like pissed off now. Every day for 2 weeks, I went home. And finally, that last day, she let me get the Lights Out. She took me to get the Lights Out tattoo on my right forearm.
Right on.
But yeah.
So that's I mean, that's high school legend stuff, though, right?
There's no cameras and no social media around. So like, around town, everybody's asking, said, "Hey, you hear about this Lights Out dude? This knocking people." This like it was
like a wives' tale.
It was like a folk tale. Yeah. Like it was a folk tale. And then it didn't really like get out there where everybody saw it until I got to the University of Maryland. Then I started hitting people on like ESPN night game. Like my freshman year went out, had a big hit against Georgia Tech. I got in the game and just clobbered the wide receiver coming across the middle, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's the Lights Out dude."
Yeah. Well, what a great nickname, man.
It's the best.
Yeah, no doubt. Especially if you're knocking people out. That's that's awesome. And now it's gone on to you what is it? Your service?
Yeah. So I got my Lights Out Sports streaming service that we just launched like almost 4 months ago now. So we got like 30 channels in there, like motocross, motorsports, and like TNA. Wrestling's on there too. I just did a pay-per-view with them about 4 months ago.
You?
Yeah.
Knock anybody out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you saw it.
Yeah. You got to tell him.
Yeah. So I
This is so good.
I love these kind of stories.
Yeah. So we launched TNA Wrestling on the app. So I reached out to the guys over at Anthem, who I did a deal with, and I said, man, we should do something big to launch TNA on a platform. And they said, yeah, we'll be in Vegas in a couple months. I said, well, I have to do the show. Right. So the whole goal was my boy, AJ Francis, who played.
Oh, yeah, I know AJ. I know him real well.
So he played football at the University of Maryland.
Right.
And the whole thing was I going to come there and kind of like help him out. We kind of started off that we were going against each other, so the crowd and everybody saw us like going back and forth. And then I ended up, distracting. The ref got distracted, turned around, and I clotheslined the hell out of Joe Hendrick. And so it got this.
Say his name.
It got this big pop, and I wanted because right now he's big. He's caught fire. I mean, he's really big right now. So I thought that would be a big thing. They liked it. They liked the idea, and the crowd it was a big pop.
Right.
That happened. And so that's how we kind of kicked it off. But yeah, we got 250 sports movies and documentaries there. We're on every major smart TV in the world. So like,
awesome.
It's been cool. And then my MMA organization, Lights Out Extreme Fighting, which we're like kind of a feeder system to
UFC.
The UFC.
Yeah.
We got a lot of guys going there left and right. I mean, every fight that we have, we got to fight every about 4 or 5 weeks. And we're getting guys looked at now by the UFC every single month.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
because guys, there's just not enough platforms for guys. You go from these independent little small things with no idea of how to handle yourself in front of a camera or anything else.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize that that's part of being able to market yourself. I mean, there's more to it than just being a great fighter. You got to be able to market yourself, and that gives guys.
And you need a AAA or a D League or something like that, for a UFC or something.
Kind of hone some of that stuff. Yeah.
And then, you know, the thing is now, like with distribution and like everything, you can be big on your, like you don't have to be the UFC.
Right.
You can say like people, you know, NXT, when I was, you know, working down there doing stuff, NXT is big. People don't know how big NXT, like outside of wrestling, but like NXT is huge in the world. And so, you know, we kind of look at ourselves like that, and we're the most distributed regional promotion in the world. Wow. You know, we're on most of the major streaming services, and outside of it being live on my own, but we're in Fubo and Bally's and Amazon Freevee, MSG, Pluto, BN Sport. We're everywhere.
Oh man, that's great.
And so, you know, it's a fun. I've always wanted to do this though. Right. You know, it was like one of those things where I was working with the WWE during, you know, when they first launched the WWE Network. So I always knew I wanted to be not only in front of the camera, but also running the organization behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. I always kind of find it strange, like when somebody comes from like a different genre of sports and everything, and think about getting into the wrestling business, and not because they can't do it, because obviously you can't. That's not the aspect of it. But I don't think a lot of people. It's not as glamorous as what. It's a grind, and I'm glad that you're here, because I want to get your perspective on it, because I always like, man, you know, there's not a lot of charters. There's not you know, you're responsible for your meals. You're responsible
travel,
for everything.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of times it's like, wait, I got to do what? Now I got to work and I got to learn this, and then I got to go out and apply it, and then I got to do what? I'm responsible for my red car. I got to get to this place.
And it's not like you're like coming out of college. Like for you, coming out of a successful
NFL career.
So how the whole thing happened was WWE came to San Diego. This is my like first stint. It came to San Diego. I think it was the one night stand. I think it was one night stand. And so it was in San Diego. I was playing for the Chargers at the time, so they thought it would be a big deal to be a part of the show. Which I did, and it got like crazy like reaction to everything. It was a big piece. And I think like CM Punk like hand me the stick, the bamboo stick, and I swatted at Guerrero. And I think who else was there? Cena. Like it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started to talk to Paul and the team over there. Over at WWE, and so we always had it planned that I was going to at some point in time transition into the business. It was more like, okay, when are you ready to retire? Like what's going on next? And then, you know, I had just signed a deal with NFL Network to do broadcasting when I got done. So the whole goal was to being halfway with NFL Network in LA, shooting that, and then going down to the Performance Center. Right. So splitting time back and forth. But then what happened was I went down there and I kind of saw everything, and I wasn't everything you just said. I already knew, right? Like I knew the grind. It wasn't like I came in, my chest was poked out, and I'm Shawne. Like no, I knew I had to kind of roll my sleeves back up and become like a rookie, in a way again. Like I was ready to put in, you know, kind of that work, and so I went down there and in Orlando at the Performance Center, and I was watching everybody kind of do their promos. It's on in NXT. They were all down there doing the promos, and it was just me and my publicist, and I'm sitting back there for like, I had to work out earlier, which Billy Gunn was my ring coach. I had, it was Regal was there, JBL, and then on the promo side, it was Dusty.
Yep.
And so, and by the way, like everything that was happening, I knew like what I was in for. I was already mindset, I'm going in, this is what I wanted to do. So all the you know, the talent, they were doing the promos. And so I'm sitting back there for 2 hours. So I tapped my publicist and I said, hey, you let's go. Let's leave. Right as I'm about to stand up, Dusty said, I know you didn't believe I was going to do this, but 56, bring your ass on down here. Right? And so...
Fit it thick. Come on. Fit it thick. Let me see what you got, baby.
Yeah, that's and so, you know, like what do? You right there on the spot, and then, you know, all the other talent and everybody there is, you know, about, I would say about 50 or close to it, maybe 40. And so I got about 30 seconds from the back of that room to walk to the front to figure out
what you're gonna
what I'm gonna do. So, but what I did was I had so much material from everybody else because I watched everybody else do theirs. And so I just remember that. So by the time I got to the front, I just started ripping on everybody who did their promos. And so I did that. And then when I got done, JBL, he walks up to me, he said, you know, Shawne, for somebody that's never done this before, that's the best I've ever seen.